Easy on a Thursday. How are we?
Shawnee, you've interrupted my schedule this week.
In that case, we're going to keep this short and sweet, son.
I'm a stay-at-home man, and I have plans on a Thursday. Coronation Street's on. I don't even know. I actually really hope it is on a Thursday and people think I know what I'm talking about.
I genuinely haven't a clue. There's definitely someone listening going, yeah, absolute liars, lads. You know exactly what's on, what channel, what time, the whole works. Go away out of that.
Sean, it's a special Thursday for a special reason.
It is indeed. So this week on the podcast, we have Keith Russell returning to the podcast. We also have PJ Meehan on the podcast, and those guys are helping to promote an event called Hellevation. It is a backyard ultra event taking place in Tipperary in April. And what we're going to be talking about is why you should be interested in doing it. And just before we get into it, we've talked before about in this podcast about backyard ultras being, my goal was to do 100 miles, 24 hours, and not that I'm anywhere near winning, but going for what was pretty much near a high standard for that. Even though I did not get it, let's put myself right back down to earth with that. I did not get anywhere close to it. But that's not really what backyard ultras are all about for most people. Just like if you sign up to a marathon, you're not going to aim to get like a sub 3 hour. It's just, some people might do 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't matter as long as you're there to compete. And that's what I saw when I did it. Like when I was running with Dara for the first 12 hours, it was like, why would you stop after 7 hours? Because like I feel grand after 7 hours. It's like, Sean, they just got their first marathon. It's absolutely brilliant. Or 4 hours, easily their first half marathon. The legs feel fresh and go off and, start running the next day or day after that 3-4 weeks of what the Dublin Marathon. Both of us didn't run after our marathon for weeks afterwards, conserve the legs for the next big race. So, and, it's an easy way to get 50 miles. And the easy way to get my longest distance to date is 100K through a backyard ultra. And that's what the backyard ultra is. It's the easiest way to build up the miles when you have your anywhere between 5 to 15 minute gap on every hour to get some solid food into you instead of running along trying to down gels and all the rest. Get some solid, proper food. So you never really hit that wall until the point where if you keep going until your legs give up at some stage. But it doesn't have to be that way. And it just sounds like great crack, great session. So with this, what that said, we'll go straight to the lads. They're going to talk more about it. It's this week's special episode at the Any Given Runday Podcast. Let's go.
You butchered that.
I did. I stumbled. It's a Thursday. I'm not used to it. I'm hitting play anyway. I'm not really doing it.
Hit the team.
Let's go. So this week on the Any Given Runday podcast, it's all about Hellevation. Hellevation is a new backyard ultra running event that's going to be taking place in Grange Woods in County Tipperary on April 6th. To talk about this, we have PJ and returning to the Any Given Runday podcast, Keith Russell. Lads, welcome to the podcast. How are we getting on?
Thanks very much. Good. Yeah, great.
This is a trip to Tip with a little bit of a difference though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You might end up finishing the same way and feeling the same way after.
Good time. So we'll get straight into it. What is Hellevation? What is this race all about?
Yeah, so will I take that there? Will I? Hellevation is it's the backyard. So the backyard ultra. That's why we've Keith on, and Keith is one of the best backyard ultra runners in the world, right? Not just the country at the moment. So Keith has really kind of come on board to help us promote this because we don't have a lot of it in the south. It's a sport that's really grown over the last few years. We have it in the north, and I suppose there's this, and as well in Dublin at the moment. So there's the idea kind of getting, I suppose, this sport really up and running and getting the best runners to represent Ireland. I was just saying there beforehand, Keith, I got to represent Ireland this year as part of the Backyard Ultra, but we were really the B team because the likes of yourself and the lads were bigs. So it gave us a chance, but it'd be great to get, 3 or 4 people from each event going on to represent Ireland in this Backyard Ultra. So for people, I suppose, who don't know what a backyard is, it's literally, it started in Tennessee. It's 4.17 miles loop, and you do it every hour on the hour. Again, it can be a little bit daunting for people, but it's the type of event that really it's available to everyone, because if you're just looking to do 12, 13, 20 miles, whatever it is you're training for another event, you can use the backyard as a way of training for that event as well. And then we also have obviously the people who are going out there to go for the 30, 50, 60 hours like Keith, and up to the 100 hopefully.
I remember when I first heard of the Backyard Ultra and I wanted to do it for the 100 miles in 24 hours. I'm like, that's a great goal. And I was telling people it was. Most people, a lot of people I was talking to had no idea what a Backyard Ultra was. And I was telling them like 6.7K. And they're like, why 6.7? I'm like, I don't know. Even though my reasoning for doing it was the answer was that was the easiest way to get 100 miles to break it down. And that's how it goes from there. And then when I did Barry and John's, like I was nervous to expecting all the elites and everyone having that same goal. But it's just like doing a marathon where not everyone has the same goal of running a sub 2:30 or sub 3 hour, 4 hours. Some do 7 hours. And it was great when you see people break it down. They have they're 7 hours in and you're like, I've done marathon distance. And you're like, you know what? I'm done. And it was by far like it was a very hilly race I did, just like the one in Tipperary sounds like it's going to be. But it was still the easiest marathon I've ever done to get that in. What longer, but definitely the easiest to build up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the rest in between, you get the rest. So you have that hour, so you can get around there in 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, whatever suits yourself. And a lot of that, there is a little bit of elevation in this, and it's not quite as much elevation as Barry and John. We're talking about 175 meters, and most of that is at the start. So you walk a good part of the first half of this, and you get to run down the hills and glide in home, and then hopefully you get 5 or 10 minutes. So again, for reaching that half marathon, that marathon distance, going for the 100 miler, which was a big goal for mine as well with it, is kind of, it's open to everyone, and everyone can kind of make what they want of it. But it's going to be a really kind of a fun day. So what we're doing is we're starting this at 12 p.m. Most of these start at 8 a.m. in the morning. So we're starting it at 12 p.m. And the idea is that the people that come for 3, 4, 5 loops, it's a little village, there's a little pub, little shop, cafe, and hopefully we kind of make it a festival of running, and that's the idea.
Oh, PJ, you should have started with that. There's a what?
there's actually two little pubs in the village. So yeah.
Because the last backyard I was at, I was halfway up a mountain carrying deck chairs and tents and beck and everything. So there's a pub and a shop.
There is, yeah. So the Coffee Coop is where we'll be starting, and they're gratefully hosting us where we're going to be able to put our tents and everything like that.
I suppose a lot of people when they go back to one of our episodes, and we'll share the link about Keith and how great he has done for the sport and pioneering the sport. This is a great way for people who are, I would say, even considering going for a marathon. Like, I know there's a bit of hiking, people who like to get into a bit of outdoors, people who like to get into, like, even the likes of myself. I wasn't a fan when Sean was saying I'm going into the hills for a night to run up and down a mountain. Yeah. But now that you've added a pub and a shop, it's way more appealing. But it is, when you break it down, it's not about competing against Keith for 60 days running around the mountain.
Absolutely not. So
4 hours, 6 hours.
It is. It's all about competing and having your own goal. For me, really, with it, I mean, I've done a lot of different races, and they've been on road, they've been on trail myself over the last 6 or 7 years. But the goal for me with the Backyard Ultra was to get that 100 miles as well. And it's a really nice goal to have. I mean, there'll obviously be people going for 50, 100, whatever it is, but everyone will have their own goal. Just talking about the marathon there, my own brother is running his first marathon this year, and he is running that, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks after Hellevation. So he's going to, I had a good bit of work in convincing him that Hellevation isn't going to kill him. He can go and do 2 or 3 loops, and that'll be enough. That can be his final training. So hopefully he's listening to this and he books it afterwards.
And because of the pace, it's probably the best way to get miles in the legs, because you're pacing and you get to refuel. Like I'm doing a race a couple of weeks, done the 50K, and I talk to people who've done faster marathons, and they're like, the good thing about it is for some people is to go around, they get a minute or 2 to rest and get some solid food, what they feel comfortable with, so they find they don't hit the wall or boink, whatever you want to call it. This, you've got more time, and the atmosphere around this, the start of the race for each lap is always kind of like, there's a great buzz, especially those 5-6 laps to start where you have your running clubs and stuff, and you notice when the same people pass you out the same points and stuff. You don't mind it pass you out because you're against yourself to get to the time at the end. It's the one race I've ever been in where I got passed out with so many people. I didn't care because I was on my track to hit my things at certain times to make it work for me.
That's it. No, that's what makes it amazing, really. That everyone, once you get back and get the loop done, everyone's on a level playing field, and the camaraderie with any of these that I've done has been amazing. So it's like anything with ultra. I mean, ultra running is that kind of a sport. everybody's out to support everyone. You're out on any of these events, and it's amazing how big ultra is getting in this country. And like any event, like any ultra, it's the camaraderie. And I think anyone going for the half marathon, going for the marathon, going for the 100 miler, come to Hellevation, and that camaraderie is going to get you over the line.
We have had some great guests on this podcast. Keith is one of them, and Keith is going to be part of the day. As you said, the sport is growing. Not many people are going to be on a start line every hour with Irish athletes. And that is essentially what people are getting a chance to do, because although the sport is only growing, when people start hearing about it and seeing Keith is going to try and break world records, he's always setting himself up at world championships, and you get to go and have a chat with these people while you're waiting to start the next loop. It's a phenomenal experience that a lot of people don't realize is a chance for them to have.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the thing with Keith is like, I'm following Keith from day one, because I suppose I was training for my first backyard when Keith ran his first one. And like,
I don't follow him because he does too much bloody running.
I was naive enough to think after seeing Keith's first one, I was like, I can do that. I realized after my first Florence Court experience that different levels. So it's really a case, I suppose. Look, everyone can get there. Like you said, if you're starting off in a sport, you don't get to meet your idols and the people who are at the best in that sport. And when you turn up at your first event, these are the type of events where you turn. Keith, in that podcast he did with yourselves, was great in saying that he wants to really promote this sport on the South. And he's proven it really by coming on board with us and offering to support this as much as he possibly can. To be there to do recce's, podcasts, the whole lot is amazing.
And Keith, for people who are looking to come stand shoulder to shoulder with the greatest, what are some key things for people who are coming to this? If you can think back to the early days, what are the important things people need to be preparing for, bringing? Or have you got any advice for people to show up and do their 3, their 4, or even go for the 50-mile, 12-hour, which surprisingly is achievable if people have some mileage in the legs?
That's for me, is it? Sorry, it broke up.
I'm breaking up with you, Keith.
No, look, like as I said before, I'm into promoting the sport, the backyard. Like, I was one of the few countries that only had one runner in the World Championships in Tennessee there in October. And it's, it is very daunting when you're going up against the US, who had, I think they had 11. You're going up against the Belgians, who had 7. And they're all like phenomenal world-class runners, and it'd be nice to get more Irish there as well and more Irish involved within the sport. And I think we have, I think it'll be about three events up the north. And it's good to see that we're having more events down south to get more people involved. And I think it's just about, getting people to know what the sport is about. And look, it's not necessarily about getting to the World Championships or getting on the Irish team for the World Satellite in next October. It's about the camaraderie, the sport. And like myself, I got into it just by chance. And I done well. Do you know what I mean? And there's probably other people out there that would be thinking, going, geez, I couldn't do that for hours on end. But, you'd be surprised what like at the end of the day, it's 6.7 per hour. 12 hours, you have 50 miles. If that's what somebody wanted to do to test themselves. And like I've seen people that have went to do 100 miles in 24 hours and they seem to go out too fast. But within the backyard, it's the simplest form of being able to do 100 miles in 24 hours, if that's what your goal was. So I would recommend, if anyone was looking to do that, the backyard is the format to go with. But then you have down to, if people are doing marathons, if people want to do 5 or 6 hours, it's just to come out, and it's basically, as you said, just a hike around Tipperary there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So where else would you want to be?
Yeah.
And if you bring a tent, the pub is there. You have your whole night sorted.
No taxes are not needed.
There's nobody going to kick you out. There's nobody going to kick you out after a couple of days either.
You've got a 3-day. You can pretend you're still going, and no one will.
One of the things that stuck out with me when Keith was in the podcast last, giving tips about this event, was you've got, it's called Hellevation, and sometimes you look at that as a negative, but it can also be a positive because sometimes, like Keith alluded to there, some people go out too fast, and sometimes a backyard ultra people go out too fast as well. But like you said, PJ, at the start of this race, you kind of have to walk, and you're forced to walk at certain points. You can't just blitz it. So some people might try, because it's only 6.7K, they might blitz it too fast, and then they don't have any more laps in them. They've got very little.
This is, I suppose, where I've done all my training, pretty much myself and Tom, the other guy involved in Hellevation, Tom Owens, and we've done pretty much all our training here on this loop, okay? Because it's from day one, 3 or 4 years ago, and it's literally you walk a good mile of the first mile and a half of this loop, and you're able. Most of the rest of it is downhill, and it's nice and easy. So you like, there isn't too many events where you're going out, you're trying to do 100 mile or you're trying to do whatever, and we're telling you to walk the first mile and a half and you'll still be fine, you know. And I'm sure Keith has said that I think he's good enough. He's going to do a recce and stuff like that. And again, I'm sure you won't be changing that up too much anyway. Are you going to run the first mile and a half?
No, look, at the end of the day, it is about being conservative. And as you say, PJ, it's like, if you have a hill, you walk it, and it's simple as that. Like you don't go out and run these races, guys. Like, you have, say, 57 minutes to get around that loop, so you utilize every bit you can. Now, it only depends like how long you want to be there for. If you want to be there for 24 hours, you have to have a strategy per loop. So like, I've seen so many different strategies over the last couple of years that I've done it, and I've seen fellas go out and run them in 35 minutes. Again, that chap was from Lithuania, and he lasts for 50 odd hours. I've seen ones that will run them in 56, 57 minutes, and they will do that consistently, but they're getting that respite every hour. They're not going as fast. So there's so many different strategies. My recommendation would be to try and get in and get at least 5 minutes sleep, especially at night, through the night. If you're going to be there at night, get 5 minutes sleep per hour through the night. And like, look, as the race goes on, things change, strategies change, food, all that sort of thing. Things you can stomach at the start, you might not stomach through the race. You need to have an array of different types of food, because you might just go, I don't fancy that, but I fancy that. Do you know what I mean? So it is about having a box of food there and going, right, what am I going to eat?
And you bring most of it back home with you anyway.
There's a cafe and a pub right beside it. You know, so
exactly. Just bring money. Just bring money, you'll be fine.
But the key thing on what a lot of people we're seeing doing now, and it is starting to take off, a lot of people are doing the 4x4x48, and it's coming around to that time of year. And what I was kind of suggesting, I know we're here to promote the event, but in 2s and 3s, this can be quite a good event for people to go, have we got 6 hours in us? It's only 6 hours. And it is quite family friendly. I was quite surprised that in the marathons we've done, you see your loved ones before you go into the corral, they'll see it in 5 or 6 hours later, whatever it is. But in this one, you're seeing them every 45 minutes, and then you're chatting to everyone who's in the camp, and there is a good atmosphere around the daytime. And as you're saying, starting at midday, it will add for those who are saying, have I got 6 hours? Can I do 6 hours? Can I do 7? And then it's a case of see how long we've got. But particularly groups who are considering doing events like this 4x4x48, this is a great way to, I suppose, start that buzz, start that excitement, and see what it's like to be tired every hour, and forcing yourself to get back into it.
Exactly. I think the family actually being there at the end of each loop is huge, you know. And to have that kind of every 45 minutes, 50 minutes to know you're going to get in, you're going to meet the crew, you're going to meet the family, because a lot of the time when you're getting into, you know, you're getting into the night, you're getting into that kind of stuff, it's different. But to actually know that in 45 minutes, I'm going to get in, the crew are going to be there, we'll have a bit of a joke. I mean, who's crewed for myself and Tom Owens most of the time is Tom's son, Ben, and he calls himself now a full-time, you know, crew director, because he absolutely loves it. So at any event we've been at, whether it's Kerry Ultra or any of the events we've done, Ben is the crew, and you know.
I'll test him out at one of my races, PJ.
And I can guarantee you, Keith, he'll be there, right? He'll be there and he'll be ready to go. But maybe 70 hours in, you want a replacement. But
Sean had me crew for him and he didn't complete a loop, and I was walking out to try find him, hoping he was dead. So you definitely don't want me in your tent. But but look, it is a fantastic opportunity. And look, it's for those who are in Cork and say that they're tough and it's not far to travel. It's on the doorstep and in the region. We've had some great guests from Cork as well who do some blistering things as well. And if people down there are looking to try something new or looking to try and test themselves, this is really an event where it's something different. It's a different challenge that you won't be used to. It's something to see, do I like it? It's like getting that opportunity to go back again and try different sports and see which one you like. And it is one that you can. And most people can survive at least
we're lucky.
7 hours.
We're lucky in Ireland. There's a lot of mad lads, you know. You don't have to go too far who think somebody who thinks they're able for anything. So yeah, just come out. And actually I better say it here now in case I do forget that we do have a discount code as well as part of the podcast. So will I mention that here?
Work away. They've listened this far to us, so why not? They deserve it.
So the discount code, as when you go on the link, is Keith1. So KEITH 1, number 1.
How much is Keith worth?
He's worth a good percentage, €10. And hopefully that's a lot of €10, so it'd be worth a lot more. Yeah.
So if you want a pub, a discount, and a nice cup of coffee, and a day out on an adventure, a chance to push yourself, a chance to see what it's all about, or even if you're just there to see if you can maintain a 6.7k hike loop as long as you can, it is a great day out. Where can we find out more information about it?
Yeah, so I suppose the best place is the link is through C Entries at the moment, but that link is on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, and that's Hellevation Running. So you'll find us under anything with Hellevation Running, and the link will be there. And over the next few days, we'll be sharing that out there again with an awful lot of people and a lot of organisations as well. So yeah, you'll see it.
Can I just say as well, like if anyone signs up and they want a bit of guidance on training or strategies for a backyard, that they're more than willing to message me, and I'll give any guidance that I can. We will look with linking in with PJ about doing a recce before the day, and excellent. I'll be there on the day helping out anyone that needs a bit of helping, bit of crewing or whatever it is. I won't be running myself, but I will be there to crew or help out anyone that needs help.
Yeah, you can't beat that, can you?
Keith will sign a t-shirt and hold your baby as well. But lads, it has been absolutely brilliant. I am very glad I am on the other side of the world, or I would have definitely been dragged into this. But it's, as always, it is a pleasure. Keep an eye on our stories and our Instagram posts on this through the week, guys. We will attach the links on people who can do it, and keep an eye on some of the reels as well to give some insights into what Backyard Ultra is, and hopefully we can encourage a few people to give something new a try.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, great.
Best luck with it, lads. Best luck with the training, and hopefully people do sign up. That will have all the info in the podcast notes. That's it from myself, PJ, Keith, and Eric. Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks.